the world is changing fast, and it's not something to be afraid of at all. Things might happen. It's all for ascension. And so if I could give any advice, try to enjoy the process of change. Because it's going to happen whether we want it to or like it or not. I believe to my core that it's not going to be what everybody else thinks it's going to be, or what the news and all that other stuff portrays it to be. It's why we chose to incarnate
in this moment in time.
At this moment in time.
Welcome to Harmonic Alignment, a podcast that explores the new frontier of energy medicine, bridging the gap between Western medicine and quantum physics, giving you easy and practical solutions. Guided by me, Dr. Larissa Sharipova,
and me, Priscilla Koblenz. Join us on a journey discovering your harmonic alignment. It's episode 55 on harmonic alignment with the wise Ryan Fisher. I like to call Ryan my brother from another mother. He's a Zen master in my life. He is so full of just beautiful, quiet, steady wisdom. Ryan started practicing Aikido at 19. He is working and running a dojo in Wilmington where he teaches. He's doing body work and massage therapy. And he's recently really dived into the healing power of toning and tuning with tuning forks and with the human voice. And so we get into this fun conversation. He demonstrates some of the tuning forks, shares some of the healing capabilities of how tuning and toning can affect the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual. It's a really fun conversation. Ryan's also part of this incredible healing group called Pranic Sound, which you can follow on Instagram and even catch them live in the Wilmington and Pennsylvania area. So stay tuned and enjoy. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe Harmonic Alignment. We're on all platforms, and be sure to share this episode with your friends. I am so grateful. Today on Harmonic Alignment, I'm here with a really good friend, Ryan, who is passionate about helping people understand sound better and the ways that it can help them heal, not just the physical, but the emotional, mental, spiritual. So Ryan, welcome and thank you so much.
Thank you, Priscilla. It's always nice to see you.
So just real quick, a background question. I know that you spent time in the martial arts, you've done body work. Can you give us a little bit about your journey?
It was 1 year out of high school, and I needed a little direction in my life, and I was at a friend's house at a party.
All good things start at a party.
I saw a brochure for Aikido.
Aikido, okay.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, Chris, he and this other friend of mine, Joe, had visited the dojo that is in North Wilmington, Delaware on Route 202. They had just visited the dojo. They had the brochure at their house. And at that time, 19 years old, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life or anything. And I still am figuring that out. But I saw the brochure and I said, I'm going to go visit this dojo. So I went in and I was impressed by a very simple thing. Not that they were very proficient at how they were using their body or fighting. It was more about the joy that they were expressing while they were doing it. And Aikido is not like every other martial art. And so I was attracted to that first and foremost. The instructor at that time, he's now 85. It was 1997, so however many years ago that was. So he's in his 60s, early 60s. And at 85, he still looks like he's only aged maybe 5 years. So
he's got a lot of joy in his life.
Yes. And Aikido was a major part of that. So after I had been training for many years, I was standing on the mat and I just felt like I had this awakening, like I could really just do this for the rest of my life. Like I really like training. And at that time I just started teaching the basics class. So I was a brown belt at that time. And I said, how am I going to figure out how to be in the dojo full time, 5 days a week? And then sure enough, I went on a hike up north, came back, driving my car, and I heard a commercial for become a massage therapist. And I'd never had a massage before. So I went to the school that night and I was attracted to that setting. And I had just gotten done hiking, so my legs were really sore. So they said, have you ever had a massage before? And I said, no, I had a full body massage. And they asked me if I had any pain. And I said, well, I just got done hiking. My shins are really tight. So they went through all these little techniques. And sure enough, when I left, I didn't have any pain in my feet or legs anymore. So I was sold. I said, I need to learn how to get people out of pain because that helped me a lot. And so that was my way of getting into the dojo full time as I became a massage therapist. And I was able to run my massage therapy practice in the studio.
Wow.
So now I'm there 5 days a week, sometimes 6. But that didn't happen right away. It took about 11 years to figure out how to get into that space full time because I had to build my business. So I had to work part-time jobs. I lived in Japan for 5 years, so I didn't have any time to focus on it then. So I came back to the United States after living in Japan from 2007 to 12. I put together 2 resumes, one for one thing and one for massage therapy. And sure enough, little by little, things started to align, and now that's where I am. So I'm at this studio 5 days a week.
Well, it feels like the 2 major shifts, the Aikido and the massage was almost like a download, or all of a sudden you had this recognition of this is what I need to do. Mm-hmm. You didn't question it.
Mm-mm. Most things in my life, when they come to me, I know through and through that that's what I need to do. And I just feel it and I just run with it. And usually it's a feeling of joy or a feeling of inspiration. It's never really I have to do this out of fear. It's more like I'm called to do this.
I love that. We're sitting here with these incredible tuning forks sitting here. How did that come in?
I was gifted this tuning fork right here. It's a crystal. You can hear it's a very high-pitched tuning fork, crystal tuning fork.
And what's the number on it?
4096, I think. So it's 4096 hertz.
Wow. Okay, so you were gifted that this came into your life as a gift.
Yeah. And I held it in my hand and I said, I know what I need to do with these. And so I knew what I needed to do was buy a whole bunch of them.
Clearly, you have quite a collection here.
Only 30% of them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think, roughly. Maybe 40%. I'm varying in all different frequencies. That's the highest pitch one. And then this tall guy. So you can see that they're called the tines are much longer on this one than they are on this one. So this one, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but it's a very low pitch sound.
It's got like a bass resonance going on there.
And it's 32 hertz.
Okay.
What's interesting about these 2 is that this is a very low C note at 32 hertz. It's not the lowest one because octaves, the law of octaves say you can go up and down octaves and you can have all kinds of C notes. And this one is a very high C note. So with the trained ear, you'd be able to hear, they're the same note. They're just on a different octave.
Right. So it's the same pitch.
Yep. Within plus or minus of 0.025 hertz or 0.25 hertz. They're very precise.
Well, so when you heard that first tuning fork and you held it in your hand and you're like, I know what to do with this, how did it then unfold? Were you thinking like health? Were you thinking spirituality or consciousness?
Well, I was trying to figure out how I could incorporate it into my massage therapy practice because up to a certain point, all I was using was my hands.
And so you thought this could be another tool to help release some of the stuff that's stored in the body.
Yes. So I first received this one, and then I thought, well, what if they make tuning forks that are attuned to the meridians, and you can use certain tuning forks to treat meridian points? My first set of tuning forks was a set of meridian tuning forks.
Wow.
So you can work with the heart meridian, lung and large intestine, you name it. If it's a major organ, there's a tuning fork associated with it.
When someone's coming in on the table, are there certain meridian pathways that you tend to support more regularly?
I feel very strongly if you could treat the bladder meridian and the stomach meridian of everyone on the face of the earth, you would have a totally different world, like almost overnight.
Oh, I love
Because the
that.
bladder and kidney help process fear, and the stomach and the spleen help to process guilt. If you can take care of guilt and fear,
We've saved the whole planet.
yes, we have.
Okay. Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, fear, guilt, and shame. I think those are the things that are holding humanity back, or they're preventing you from having self-love. They're preventing you from a higher vibrational.
So many things, yes.
How do you think the tuning forks are working to release that in the body?
Well, that's a really good question because I'm very much interested in the science of sound, not just, oh, it feels good.
Yeah.
What is the science behind sound? So we have connective tissue called fascia. We can go back to the term Aikido. The term Aikido is 3 Japanese characters, I, Ki, and Do. And I is harmony. Ki is the universal energy source.
Like chi. Okay.
Prana, and Do is the way of. So Aikido literally means the way of harmonizing energy. It doesn't say kick and punch your assailant. I mean, if you need self-defense, that's a way to survive, and you keep your ki intact. If chi exists, then it flows through the fascia.
You think the fascia is like the transportation system for the chi or the energy flow?
It's the electrical lines for chi.
Oh, I love that. I love that visual of electrical lines running through your body.
And so the old model, though, and this is where kind of my belief is starting to change, is the old model is you have lines of meridians going through the body and the chi is flowing through these. Well, if it's fascia, it doesn't flow like linearly, but it's a network. If I hold a tuning fork on my wrist, that point communicates with all the fascia of the entire body
Simultaneously.
instantaneously.
Okay.
So when we're going back to the meridian tuning forks, they're very precise. I could take this one right here. It's a 128 hertz, which is actually, if you take the 32 that we were just talking about and you go up a few octaves, it's another C note.
Okay.
And the 128 is a special fork because when we're talking about the science of sound, it also helps the body to regulate the puffing cycles of nitric oxide.
But nitric oxide is that element that everybody needs more of in their body.
Molecule of the year at some point, not that long ago. It helps with blood pressure. It's actually released into the bloodstream through the endothelial tissues of the arteries and veins.
Okay.
So when I take this and I strike it, and you can hear maybe the sound of this 128 hertz, and I'll just use maybe the heart area, the assemblage point of the sternum, strike it, and I put it on my heart, and I feel it immediately throughout most of my upper chest area, but then I can feel it in my low back. If I'm really calm and quiet, I can feel it up into my head, down into my toes. Wow. When I'm treating a meridian, for example, and it's the bladder meridian, I've noticed just by putting it all together that a lot of people suffer from anxiety. They also have tight thoracolumbar muscles. And thoracolumbar is just where the thoracic vertebrae meets the lumbar vertebrae. And right there is the origin mostly of the respiratory diaphragm. But if there's tightness in that area, I work it with my hands. I also use mobile cupping and maybe some gua sha scraping tools. But if I can't release it with those,
right,
or sometimes I'll just release it, I'll just hold it on that point.
Okay.
And that vibration helps to release the fascia in that area and then melt all the tension. And within 2 or 3 strikes of the fork held on that point,
everything around it has softened up, right? It's almost like it's like you melted whatever the issue was. It kind of melts away.
Because it literally is melting the fascia from a more solid state to a liquid or gel-like state.
Oh, I love that. And I've felt it when you've had me on the table, that it's like almost like a...
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you want to think of it in musical terms, because that's where it really gets even more interesting, is we're just tuning. We're just tuning the body to its rightful tuned state.
So it's almost like we're coming back into coherence in that whatever was out of coherence.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That makes sense to me, how it's actually helping the physical body, because once you've released that tension or brought that fascia back into coherence, so now it's communicating and flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's happening on the emotional and spiritual?
The emotional is a bit of a bridge between the mental and the spiritual, which are kind of start to get really blurry. If you take the emotion of grief, I work with what I also call the super points. So there's points on the body that have a lot more, they collect a lot more emotional
Oh,
stuff.
so there's definitely like points in the body where everything tends to gravitate toward.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the back here would be fear and anxiety.
Okay.
Right in the stomach area would be the guilt and the shame. And right here on the arm, on the outside of the arm, your lung and large intestines, meridians kind of run up through here too. And so when anybody's ever gone through a major loss and they're not able to process that emotion as well, then it starts to get tense in here. And so using cupping or fork or whatever, or even the hands sometimes do a good job of that, or even just therapeutic touch Reiki.
The forks are helping to release the tension that is stored from the emotion in the body.
Mm-hmm.
So the tension is probably multi-causational at times. It could be toxic food and injury, overuse. It could be emotional, that hasn't processed. The body keeps the score. I think we're both on the same page on that.
Issues are in the tissues.
Issues are in the tissues. I like that one as well. But I think there's another layer to it, which I think you're taking it to. I don't know if we want to call it the brain retuning. Maybe it's the energy fields of the body or the biofield. There's another thing happening on the unseen level.
If the body's in tune, then the heart will function at its optimal.
Okay.
And the heart being the most electromagnetic organ in the body that generates the most electromagnetic energy, I believe that's where the biofield is created.
Is it because of the energy field of the heart?
Yeah, I don't know the exact way it's constructed. There are theories on the biofield. It's kind of like rings of a tree. And then as you get further out, all the way out is gestation.
Oh, so that further, it's almost like a timeline of your life. Okay.
Yeah. And that's actually comes from Eileen Cusack, which she did a lot of research in this area. A highly recommended author on some of the subjects. I don't think of the mind as being here. I think of the mind as being, for us individually, everything. Everything is mind.
Okay.
I think of the biofield as the mind.
Oh.
Because that's where it stores information. It's kind of like a hard drive. It's like electromagnetically, we store information in our hard drive, which is our biofield.
I'm trying to understand better. As I heal the physical and the emotional, am I then finding better alignment into the spiritual, into connection with God, source, life force energy?
I believe you do. Because I've kind of on this meditation where the only true healing happens at a soul level. Everything else is just kind of like, oh, we've taken care of that symptom. But have we gotten to the root of what is really going on? And if our biofield is our soul, then we can only truly heal, which I'm also reevaluating what that word means, at that level. Everything else is just kind of like, oh, fixed it for a little while, like we put a Band-Aid on it, or so.
I'm on the same page with you. The word heal. I think there's a rabbit hole in that.
I think that heal has this idea that it's a fixed state. I went to the doctor and I got fixed. or I got healed. I got a new hip and now I'm fixed. But now I can go back to my old lifestyle because there's no relationship between my lifestyle and why my hip had to be replaced. And so that's not healing.
No, no. It's like the Band-Aid, which is what we're all doing in societies. We're Band-Aiding something and kicking the can further down the road because I don't actually want to fundamentally change.
Yeah.
I don't want to let go of that trauma or change my story or change my lifestyle. Or you may not even realize there's something better on the other side. You're so stuck in this constant programming.
That's a very, very good point. Sometimes you're so familiar with a way of living that it's scary to think, well, what if I just change this over here? But 10 times out of 10, the change that you actually have the courage to make makes your life better. Your life becomes more harmonious because you had the courage to make that change. I'm still working on it too. I still hesitate sometimes. I think, this makes no sense, but yet I'm still called to do something and I don't know what's on the other side, but I'm gonna faithfully jump into this and hope that it works out for the best. 10 times out of 10, it worked out for the best.
Right. When you actually take the leap and you do the thing that you're scared of, it'll unfold in such a beautiful way.
If there's a higher self, that is your higher self speaking to you saying, you should do this.
Go for it.
Yeah.
That's why we put the thought in your head.
When I embarked on this, I'm like, I got to have not every tuning fork that was ever created because there's a lot of them, but I have to have a good range of them. And so I've worked with all of these pretty extensively, some more than others, because you kind of just feel like, well, this one, I really like working with this one.
Well, now that brings in a good segment. What are some of the main tuning forks? And can you tell people if they get started, what to start with?
Well, these three right here.
Awesome.
The first one I'll play for you is a 256C. You don't have to remember these numbers or anything, but it is another C note. And if you notice the 128, if you want to make an octave out of a tuning fork, a higher one, you just multiply by 2. So 128 times 2 is 256.
Perfect.
So that just makes an octave higher because the cycles per second are twice as fast as the other C note. So that's a C note. And then musically, the most stable interval in music theory is a perfect fifth. And it's called a perfect because there's no minors to it. It's just the fifth interval.
Okay.
So, and that's G. So C and G are a perfect fifth. So when you strike both of these and you hold them on both sides of your head, near your ears, what your ears hear is a really stable, beautiful.
Oh, it's so cool. And you can hear it that close.
I guess it's a very simple chord because it is 2 notes. I mean, we tend to think of chords as at least 3 notes, but it's still...
It feels complete.
Yes. Would you like me to read out of the book?
I would, I would love that.
Okay, so about the perfect fifth, because it's really important to understand if you're into any type of sound, anything concerning the word healing...
If we're using sound as a healing modality or to better understand it.
Very nice way to put it. The perfect fifth, C and G, is the interval of ideal nervous system tuning. The perfect fifth brings all parts of our self into a unified harmony. The perfect in perfect fifth refers to the harmonious sound which unifies opposites. When the autonomic nervous system, now we're talking about the nervous system here, is tuned to a perfect fifth, a 2/3 wave flows throughout our whole body. The nervous system entrains to the signal. That's important. It entrains. When you hear a sound, whether it's a good or bad sound, your body, your biofield tunes to it.
Right, which is a bigger conversation, but it's one of the reasons we talk about the dangers of EMFs is that our body wants to find alignment with the frequencies that are being in our field, in our space.
Mhm.
And if those frequencies aren't harmonious to biological function or optimal life, that's an issue. This goes back to why we need to spend more time in nature, because our biofields, our human body, tunes to the frequency of nature, and we find health and we lower inflammation, all those good things. Okay, so you're explaining that that perfect fifth has that same ability.
Yeah, so we can get some of the benefits of being out in nature just by hanging out with a perfect fifth, couple tuning forks.
Okay, so in the winter, we can't get outside, or we're in the city. If we start using these, this is basically our nature, our once a day. Let's check in with nature.
So one of my favorite things in the winter, because it's coming up, is find a spot where the sun's coming through the window. If you have these tuning forks, sit in the sun and just listen to them, and you will feel much better in 3 to 5 minutes than you did before.
It'll make that big a difference.
It
and
will,
you could even
it
hum
will.
back and forth
Yes,
with
yes.
the sounds.
Which
Okay.
we'll talk about in a little bit here. So the nervous system entrains to the signal and further signals the tendons, muscles, and ligaments connecting each joint to come into a balanced tone. In order for our body to conduct the 2/3 wave, which is the perfect fifth, a precise balance of ligamental tension is necessary at each joint. Any imbalance of tension will set up an interference pattern that compromises range of motion. Going back to, you asked, what are the best tuning forks to have when you first start? And then why I've chosen the C and G is because they're the perfect fifth. Now, where it gets even more scientific and interesting is that the difference tone between 256C and 384G is 128. So you don't need this one if you have these two, because you can still listen and get the 128 difference tone plus the 256 and 384 perfect fifth. So when your ears hear it, your brain signals the body to release that nitric oxide just by hearing this.
If you hadn't just one, you would get the 128. But if you got the two, you're covering 128 and giving yourself a bigger playing field. And you were reading from the Human Tuning book by
John Beaulieu. Yeah, this is a really good manual too. It goes into how to use various tuning forks, and he basically said when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, in this situation, the teacher is not a physical human being, it's actually the tuning forks. The sound is the teacher.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. The sound is the teacher.
But it is nice to have a little background, so that human tuning is a really good primer.
Okay.
And he makes another one that's deals a lot with intention. So
beautiful.
But the nice thing about the 128 is I can use it on acupressure points. If I know a little bit like sinuses or a third eye, you can even relax your jaw by putting it on your chin.
So someone has like tension, and you just said sinuses. Oh, sorry. Then you can also do like the immune system points.
Yes. Yeah. Anywhere, but you don't need a lot of it. That's another thing, is it's not maximum strength tuning fork. Like I got to do it for hours and hours. 2 to 3 times is all you need. And
so you just would hit it one time, wait for the vibrations to stop, and then switch the point or do it again.
Two to three times on any given point.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
okay.
So it's
fairly simple to get started.
Simple and super effective. But it's also, how out of tune are you?
So at the point where you're starting to get sick, you're really out of tune at this point. But if you had used this as maintenance, as a daily check-in, maybe your biofield wouldn't get to that point of breaking down.
Yes.
So you're using this as a daily health routine.
Toning is a little different than tuning, but toning implies tuning. I tone daily with at least 1, if not 9 to 15 forks.
Okay, can you show us an example of how you tone with one? Do you have a favorite that you start with, or?
So 128 is actually in a really good vocal range of a lot of human beings. So if you hear, Oh, and I use it as a breath exercise.
Okay.
I use the Japanese vowels, a, I, U, E, O.
Okay.
And then if I really get into it, it's a, I, U, E, O. And then I end with the M.
Oh, I love that.
It's like a really fancy Om.
Can you do that one more time for the listeners to follow along?
A, I, U, E, O.
On the end, when you close and you feel your mouth, it's like you're vibrating your whole face when you do
Yeah,
that.
it gets
Oh,
a,
I love
the
that.
sinus cavity, which I'm this time of year I do have to be careful with what I eat because if I have any kind of gluten or sugar, whatever's in the atmosphere just irritates my
Your sinuses.
So
Okay. So that's something you're gonna opt in a little more of when you are in this time of year.
yeah, and I should have followed my own advice last night.
Okay. But nope, been there,
Just a
done that.
little bit of sugar last night that I
Yeah.
shouldn't have had. But I wanted to bring in another tool for any type of sound healer. And it might be counterintuitive to think earmuffs.
Mm.
Why earmuffs if you're going to block out all the sound?
Because you can hear better. Your little sounds
So
like a
there's-
freight train, right?
So there's a breath called Brahmari. Brahmari is like the bees hum. And so what you're supposed to do is cover your ears with your hands and hum. And that's about 5 minutes of humming is what they recommend. Holding your hands over your ears for 5 minutes is going to get very uncomfortable. So you put the earmuffs on and you hum, and it might squeeze your head a little bit, but I swear by these. If I come home from a hard day of work, and it's usually never a hard day of work, my hard day of work is more like I have to be on for 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, nonstop, and maybe a little break in between clients. But that's 3, 4, 5 clients in a row. It's tough on the physical body to work with that many energies in that short a period of time. So I put these on, lay on my back, and I'm out for 15 minutes to half an hour for a nap. When I get up, I'm not going to see 3 or 4 more clients, but I'll tell you what.
You feel like you could.
I feel like I could. Yeah.
So it's almost like you recharge. So you put those on and you start humming for a few minutes and then you take a little nap and then now you're recharged.
Because our ears pick up more than we think that they do.
Mm.
And if we can block out as much extraneous sound or vibration from our ears, then our brain doesn't get that overstimulation of like the lawnmower off in the distance, or
Right.
the chainsaw or the leaf blower. Or
I actually think that's one of the reasons I get so exhausted when I'm flying is there's a constant noise.
Yes.
So sometimes headphones, as if you have a good set, cancel that noise and your body's able to relax more.
So I'm going to have you put these on.
Okay.
And I'm going to show the listeners how you can use the 128 for very effective. Take them off again. I want you to set an intention for yourself, something that's very important to you lately. Use I am, okay?
I am joy.
All right.
Trying to bring more joy back.
Okay. So that's your intention. The sound is the capsule that delivers the medicine, which is the intention, I am joy, to deliver that message to the universe, because you just voiced it and the universe is listening.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
The universe's ears are listening. So before we put them on, the best way to strike is right at the palm and just a nice natural like drop of the fork. And then you're going to put it on your chin, because when you put it on your chin, you're going to hear that sound
in my ears.
Go right up into your ears. And with the earmuffs on, all you're going to hear is that tone. And then once you get a feel for that sound, you're a singer, so you know you'll be able to pick it up right away. I want you to hum that until, like, take a deep breath in and just hum until you are done humming, okay?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Oh my gosh, that went on for so long.
And you don't have to necessarily keep the fork on your chin the whole time. It's really just to kind of get,
This, I
yeah,
hear
or
you
you could
hear
put it
it.
here. You're gonna hear, if you put it here or you put it on your knee
Okay.
with the earmuffs on,
You'll still hear
you're
it.
still gonna hear it.
I was so
It may
surprised.
not
I
be
don't think I
as
could hear it
easy
if
to
it was out
hear.
here, but I
Yeah,
heard it once it hit my body. My ears could hear it.
yeah.
But I probably not without the headphones.
So,
Oh,
and
that's kind of like a magic trick.
and it is because what's tough about the bony prominences, like the mastoid process and the sternum and the electronon process, and you name it, there's a bunch of bony prominences on the bodies. You can't really massage them. You can use a mobile cup and go over them, and that'll
Okay.
actually lift the tissues up and create space. But this is one of the best tools for massaging the mastoid process, which is right behind the ear, and that actually helps to relax the neck muscles and all sorts of postural muscles, everything. So
Oh, helping your thyroid find better alignment.
yes, yes, yes. So
Ah, good.
so you can use a 128 hertz fork for massaging the bones. They're a
Right.
bone massage. They're called an auto tuner because they vibrate bone.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Osteophonic is the actual terms, and they were $18. I got them yesterday. You can find all this stuff on Amazon.
We can put some links in the show
There
notes.
are better sources for, like, this one I got from omnivos.com. And so I don't make any commission off of these. I just know that they work for me and have worked for my clients. So
Okay, so you recommended the three starter tuning forks if you're going to get started,
mhm.
trying it on the body with the headphones, but you started to tell us the intention work, and I think that's super powerful. It's almost like a gratitude practice in a sense. Kind of give us what you think's happening when someone says an intention out loud and then adds sound to it.
The magic formula is intention plus frequency equals manifestation.
Oh, I like that. Say that again.
Intention plus frequency equals manifestation.
Intention plus frequency equals manifestation.
What is our intention?
Yeah.
I've been working with I am free a lot lately, and I am finding that I am feeling so much more freedom with my schedule, freedom with my time, freedom with being in a moment, but then detaching from that moment. No moments last forever, so we have to let go of everything at some point, right? But in the letting go of the freedom of letting go of those things, even a good time,
Right.
bad time, neutral
Yeah.
time, doesn't matter. Freedom.
Freedom.
So that's my intention. So when I set an intention, I am free, or I am liberated, or I am letting go. I can even like cycle around and just make a little mini mantra out of it. And then the plus, the frequency, here's where it gets fun, is that you can use any of these forks to set that intention. There are specific forks, like this guy right here this has actually been popping up a lot lately. 639 hertz, so it's a pretty sound.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
But the human voice has trouble getting to this point.
Yeah, unless we go lower.
Yeah, or we use the
Yeah.
law of octaves, right? So this one's specific intention is healing relationships and creating new relationships.
Ooh, what number is this?
639.
639, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. But I can use this for freedom because
Okay.
the intention is actually the most important part. And that goes into, if anybody has ever heard of the book called The Kybalion, 7 Hermetic Principles of the Universe, all is mind, that's intention.
Yeah.
The universe had an intention to create all of this at one point. It didn't just happen. It really wanted it to happen.
Right. You have to have the intention.
And what was the thing that started it all? At first was the sound.
Wow. In the beginning, there was the word.
The beginning was the word, yes. So vibration. So the first 3 laws are immutable. All is mind, as above, so below, the law of vibration. If we understand those 3,
Yeah.
Everything else falls in line.
Oh, I love that. And those are the Hermetic principles.
7 Hermetic principles, yeah. But there's more sub-principles, and there's 4 other ones they're somewhat mutable, but the immutable ones are all is mind, law of correspondence, as above, so below, and the law of vibration. So we take intention, we take the frequency. In the middle of that is the law of correspondence, as within, so without. If we create something on the inside, the external world has to conform. It has no choice if we create it on the inside. So if I'm free on the inside, the whole world
becomes your oyster.
Becomes free to me, in my eyes, in my perception.
And you can give and receive, and that giving and receiving makes it free. It reminds me a little bit of what you're saying is like you have the intention, but the emotion is what I would think is the lighter fuel, but we're using the sound, and that's bringing us into this higher vibrational state of maybe gratitude, love, joy, in order to amplify the intention.
Yes. I like how you use the emotion as the lighter fluid. It's the fuel. So if we wake up in the morning and we read an email that we shouldn't read until at least noon.
Right, because you didn't want to start your day off on a bad foot.
Like my emotional energy has just been zapped for the whole day ahead of me. We can gain some of it back, but I'm just as responsible for
all of
using all my energy at once as anybody else. So.
You bring up a really good point. It sounds like you have a pretty healthy morning routine. Your ideal morning routine is definitely not checking your phone right away.
No.
But you're starting with some form of intention, sound, toning.
Mm-hmm. My first thing that I like to do is sit up. I call it meditation, and that's something that's been coming up a lot lately.
Meditation, so sit up in bed.
Sit up at the top of my bed. It's kind of against the bedboard or the wall. And I just sit there for 3 to 5 minutes and just not really thinking, just kind of waking up.
Okay.
And then I'll get into, I like my daily vibe that I get from this one little app.
Okay.
I do check my phone.
Right.
At some point.
Right. No, I gotcha.
But,
we all have to. I mean, you have kids, so, you have to check in. So
intention plus frequency equals manifestation. Well, what do we want to bring forth?
Right.
And that's where we have to become very clear about our intention. It kind of cycles back around. If I want this in my life, do I really want this in my life? Because be careful what you wish for sometimes, and it's not a fear-based thing. It's just like, oh, I want that. Well, you have to carry with it the responsibility of having that.
Right.
So I think the intention goes back to, if you ask for freedom, the universe is going to clear everything out of the way to bring you that freedom. Well, how wrong can you go with freedom?
Right. But you could go wrong with, I need $1 million. I mean, there's some pitfalls to the $1 million. I want money.
I am abundantly rich.
Yeah, and you want money. If you tell the universe I want money, then you're in a car accident. And that's not what you're being very clear of. I want joy. Okay, what could go wrong with that? Yes. Or what could go wrong with freedom?
I am in a pristine optimal health situation.
Yeah.
How can you go wrong with optimal health? Everything else falls in line.
I love that you said that. I remember years ago, I am whole, complete, and fully functioning at my ideal healthy weight in joy.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't want to say pick a weight and then lose a limb to get to that weight. Like like the universe doesn't understand the difference. Yeah. So can we come at our intention in a way, I don't know, kind of make it bulletproof in a sense for...
Why not?
Why not? Why not have that?
Because unless you're very, very clear, and I had this conversation with my son, do you want a car or do you want a motorcycle? His answer is, I don't know. And I said, well, that's what the universe is going to give you. I don't know what you want, Ty.
You don't know either. And the universe isn't going to provide until you... It's not going to provide until you get really clear.
Yep.
Because you're just kind of like rolling along.
I don't know what I want. Well, that's what the universe is. You get what you expect.
Right. And then there's always a place for that at certain points in your life. I mean, we're still supposed to be experimenting and trying on things in our teens and our 20s.
Well, even in your 40s.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to be when I grow up.
60s, 80s. Yeah. So just using that formula, It's very powerful. It's very simple. It's something you can do anywhere, anytime. It's best, they say, in the morning when you get up to set that intention for the day. It's like setting the template for the day.
I love that.
Before you go to bed at night, setting an intention for your dreaming state, which is easier said than done. Sometimes your head just hits the pillow and you go into dream state with no intention too. So what do you want to accomplish in your dream realm? Because that's 1/3 of your life.
Right. Well, one of the things you've done with this, besides just your own healing work and hands-on body work, you are now part of a musical group that is using sound to help facilitate people's healing. Can you tell us more about that?
The music group's name right now currently is Pranic Sound.
I love that. Pranic Sound. Okay.
We have a bunch of instruments. I play Native American flutes generally, and the bass guitar and some percussional elements. Ray plays the crystal bowls and the metal bowls. Jill plays the classical flute and some Native American flute. Riley plays percussion and is going to play the handpan. Jessica plays the harp and some percussion. And Scott plays the didgeridoo and some percussion too.
Wow.
So there's 6 of us predominantly. And then we acquired another guy who's friends with all of us, Lucas, who plays the gongs. And he has a nice gong set up, and it's so much fun. It's so much variety for the ears. I even have made recordings out of certain tuning forks. Actually, the C and G, the Perfect Fifth, I use a lot.
You can actually play that during the concerts, so people can
It's a
hear
backing track. So I pre-record a lot of the stuff and then play it during certain songs. So we're playing around with that idea, but it's just a ton of fun and a ton of inspiration.
Okay, we'll put in the show notes where people can find you, because you guys at least are having a monthly event.
A monthly event at Studio DeRossi in Kennett Square. It's a beautiful venue. It's a nice big open space, and there's a lot of fun things. She's cooking up.
Good. No, it's a not to be missed. It's a better way to do your Saturday night. You and I have talked about the need for ways for people to connect without alcohol or substances, to genuinely connect in this new elevated state of consciousness. And
it's a great community experience. It starts at 6:30, and if you want to leave at 8:30, then the night is still young, or you can go right to bed.
So if somebody's wanting to do some body work or talk to you and have a sound session and or work with you in Aikido, what's the best way to find you?
Just to text me at my phone number.
Okay.
All of my clients have come from word of mouth from other clients.
You're an example of you call in what you want. And you called in the life you want, the clients you want, the schedule you want. And
almost down to, I wrote out my schedule this spring of this year, and there was only one thing that was out of place. And sure enough, the universe found a way to
fix that and get that off here. Well, I admire you so much because I have seen the way you live your life, and it's always such a joy to be in your presence, because I feel elevated because I know you're doing the work, the inner work, the outer work, the spiritual, you're bringing in sound and all the different healing modalities. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
If you're curious about something, this kind of applies to musical instruments. If you're curious about a musical instrument, because that can be very therapeutic. It doesn't matter if you're Jimi Hendrix on the guitar, just try it. And what do you want to do with that instrument? If you just want to learn how to play the guitar, or you want to learn how to use the forks, the next question you have to ask yourself is, what do I want to do with these things?
Right.
So
have an intention, a purpose.
Yes. It all circles back to why. And if you're fumbling around with it, or if you're getting bored with it, you always go back to that intention that you started with. Like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this to make money?
Yeah.
I didn't pick massage therapy to become rich. It's just not possible. I can't see enough people in a day's time to get rich off of massage therapy. So I don't do massage therapy or anything that I do to make money. Making money is important and all that good stuff, but it's, why do I want to do it? I want to figure out myself and then help others figure themselves out.
And that's the true wealth of life and the true riches, is that it's priceless.
Yeah, and up to this point, I'm 47. I haven't needed a single thing in my whole entire life that bad.
Yeah.
You know, like I've always had what I needed, and the universe always provided. Nature always provided. Friends, family, there was always something to come in, and I don't just rest on that. I go out and I make things happen as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But if you trust in the process and you set your intentions of what you really need out of life, then, and I don't want to get too preachy or philosophical, but it does help. It does work. It does happen for you.
Brian, I think that's such a great message. I think people need to be reminded of that. So thank you. If you had a microphone and you could reach every soul on the planet, is there any other piece of wisdom that's coming in right now that you want to share?
The world is changing fast, and it's not something to be afraid of at all. Things might happen. It's all for ascension. And so if I could give any advice, try to enjoy the process of change. Because it's going to happen whether we want it to or like it or not. I believe to my core that it's not going to be what everybody else thinks it's going to be, or what the news and all that other stuff portrays it to be. It's why we chose to incarnate
in this moment in time.
At this moment in time.
You were dishing out the wisdom that I needed to hear, and that was try to enjoy the change. And so even if it's coming at you and your house is burning down and all this chaos is happening in your life, can you find the joy in the change?
And the lessons and the goal, you know, the silver lining, but there's more to it than that.
There's wisdom in every experience, and it's the ones that are causing the biggest change. There's the biggest gifts in. So,
and it goes back to the law of correspondence: as above, so below; as within, so without; or so on the external, as internal, so external. If you make those adjustments inside, I said it before, the external world has to conform. It has no other choice.
Ryan, what you just shared is such wisdom that can change people's lives. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's easy to do. It's something that everyone has access to. And I just wish more people understood it.
You know, it's literally one person can change the world.
Yeah.
And it starts with this person.
Well, it doesn't get any better than that. Ryan, you are living harmonic alignment. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And I hope that we get to have more conversations around the power of sound and tension. Ryan and I are working on a series called Toning and Tuning, because, I mean, really, do you need anything else in your life?
Yeah. But as far as, you know, wanting to make those changes, it's that simple.
It's that simple.
Are you ready for your Energy for Life bioenergetic nest scan? Dr. Larissa Sharapova and myself, Priscilla Koblenz, offer personal, private, 90-minute consults to get you back to optimal health and well-being. For more details, visit the show notes or check out harmonicalignment.co. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Harmonic Alignment. If something resonated with you, we would love to hear about it. Please consider leaving us a 5-star review and subscribing so you don't miss an upcoming episode. Thank you. The information contained in this podcast is provided for informational purposes only and not intended for the purpose of diagnosing, treating, curing, or preventing any disease. Before using any products referenced on the podcast, consult with your healthcare provider. Carefully read all labels and directions. The products and information received through the podcast should not be used to replace a consultation or advice from your healthcare provider. If you suspect you have a medical problem or have any healthcare questions, please promptly call your healthcare provider. This podcast, including Dr. Larissa Sharapova and Priscilla Koblenz, and the producers are not responsible for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained in this podcast. This podcast may contain endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct financial benefit to the product or services referenced.